They said it was over. After that night at the Etihad, after the 2-1 defeat, Manchester City were inevitable. Arsenal finished. But football has a funny way of humbling certainty. Because 1 week later, in the loudest stadium in England, everything changed. St. James's Park, a place where title dreams go to die. Newcastle don't just play football here, they drag you into a fight. And Arsenal knew this wasn't about tactics anymore. This was about survival. 9 minutes in, one chance, one touch, Ebereki Eze. Silence, not just inside the stadium, but across the entire title race. Because that goal didn't just make it 1-0. It brought Arsenal back to life. 73 points, top of the table. 3 points clear of Manchester City. Yes, City have a game in hand, but something more important changed that night. The pressure moved. For years, Arsenal were the ones being chased, questioned, doubted, bottlers. Not ready. Second place again. But now, for the first time in years, Pep Guardiola is the one looking up. And here's where it gets scary. If City win their game in hand, they go level on points. Level after an entire season. So, what separates them? What decides the title race? Goal difference. One goal, just one, can decide it all. Right now, Arsenal has 38 and City has 37. That's just a goal difference. That's how thin this title race is. One mistake, one lapse, one moment decides everything. But this Arsenal team feels different because in previous seasons, they would have tried to outplay Newcastle. This time, they outfought them. Arteta has changed. He's no longer just copying Pep, he's evolving, pragmatic, disciplined, relentless. Arsenal aren't just playing beautiful football anymore. They're learning how to suffer. And then, there's the man leading the line, Viktor Gyökeres, 18 goals this season. Arsenal's top scorer. On paper, that sounds like exactly what you need in a title race. But football isn't played on paper, because despite the numbers, there's a question surrounding him. In the biggest moments, has he been clinical enough? At Sporting, he looked unstoppable, relentless, ruthless. But the Premier League is different. Got tighter spaces, less time, no second chances. And in games like the one against City, those half chances, they decide titles. So now, with 4 games left, Arsenal aren't just relying on their system anymore. They're relying on him. Because if Gyökeres finds that edge, that killer instinct, Arsenal don't just compete for the title. They take it. But if he doesn't, then every missed chance could come back to haunt them. But let's not pretend this is over. Because Manchester City don't panic. They don't chase. They calculate. Even when they look tired. Even when the intensity drops. They still win. Rodri and Haaland. These are players built for moments like this. And history tells you one thing about City. When the finish line is close, they don't stumble. But this season feels different. The margins are tighter. The energy is lower. And the next fixtures? Everton versus Man City away. A team fighting for survival versus a team chasing the title race. A stadium that turns into chaos in May. One draw. Just one. And the title slips. Every game is important. Every game feels like a test. Every game feels like a final. So no, this isn't over. Not even close. Because just days ago, we were told this title race was finished. Arsenal were leading 9 points. The title was decided done. But now, it comes down to moments, to pressure, to nerve, to one single goal. And when this season ends, we might look back at that night at St. James's Park and realize that's when everything changed. That's when the real pressure began. So tell me, who's lifting the trophy? Arsenal or Manchester City? And if you love football stories like this, subscribe. Because this race, it's only getting started.